strange. It's a bit hard to know how to start this video, but basically I'm 35, I'll be 36 in January, and it's took me 35 years to realise I'm autistic. Basically with women, they can go on unnoticed for a long time, because they're usually better than the males at masking and copying their peers, like growing up in school and stuff, so they're better at masking to appear neurotypical, so they can appear better at socialising and stuff, but that doesn't mean that inside they don't feel like different. So for like my whole life, basically, since as far as I can remember, I've felt like an alien, like I didn't fit in. I felt like I just didn't feel the same. I felt weird inside, like I didn't feel the same as everyone else. Only about 1% of the population are on the autistic spectrum. At the moment they're diagnosed. I think there's a lot more adults out there who are actually autistic, they just haven't been diagnosed because it wasn't really a thing when I was young, and there was like very little awareness of it, and the diagnosis criteria is basically built on boys, not adult women, not adults, not women, but like boys. And you know, autism, the traits can appear different to the outside world in women than it does in men and boys. But basically a lot of adults are getting diagnosed now because their children are getting diagnosed, or family members because it's genetic, so younger kids because of the increasing awareness, and then they're starting to see traits in themselves, and then they're realising that they're autistic too, like seeking a diagnosis. Like in this country at the moment there's so many people waiting for diagnosis. Depending where you are, you can be waiting years because the waiting list's that big and there's virtually hardly any funding for it. But going into like what it actually means is that could take a long time as well. But even like how I'm talking now, so basically attention to detail is one of the things. It's not all bad stuff, there's a lot of positive things to it as well. For instance, having attention to detail and like being able to hyper-focus on things, and if you've got like an interest, or a special interest as they call them, which you end up with quite a lot, you learn everything and anything about it, and you can just get like really, really into it. Also, I've got like an amazing long-term memory. I can remember things from when I was like really small and as a kid, and I remember them like movies playing out in my head. I can also remember like nearly every conversation that I've ever had with people and what they've said to me. So if people like say, "Oh, I said this," and it's like, "No, you didn't actually, you said that," and like some people don't like that because if they're like lying, you can pick up on it and you can remember exactly every single, like exactly what they said. And like, but it's like, so basically my niece was diagnosed a few years ago, but I didn't really see the traits in myself. Everyone on the autistic spectrum is different to each other as well, so you can have different traits or like different, be on a different part of the spectrum obviously. But like, one morning I just woke up and realised out of nowhere, it just came to me, this was like at the start of the year, it was just like it just came to me when I woke up one morning in my head out of nowhere, and then everything just clicked into place, like my whole life and so many things. So I wrote loads of examples down, went to the doctors, asked for an assessment and said why, and listed all the reasons why I wanted one. But luckily I only had to wait from when I went to the doctors 4 months for my assessment, which is a small amount of time compared to other people. And in that time I basically wrote like a big booklet full of loads of examples, so then when I came to do my questionnaire before my assessment, I just wrote them out, typed them out into different sections and organised it. But it just all comes flooding out for them because you've got basically a lifetime worth of examples to write down. So yeah, it was like a big word. But when I was diagnosed, it was like a relief because, like, I thought, like my biggest fear that was they going to say no, you're not, stop being silly sort of thing, or and that was going to feel stupid, but to like have it confirmed was just a massive relief, and yeah, it was a good thing. So basically different sections of what it involved would be like social communication and interaction, executive functioning, which is like, I'm very unorganised, executive functioning, like sensory things, special skills, stuff like that. So basically, like, to do with feeling like an alien, I kind of did think I just feel like an alien all the time, but like, and I love things like science and space, and was always interested in how the universe works and philosophy and stuff like that, rather than just like small talk sort of conversations. I have like really deep I prefer really deep meaningful conversations, or to like not really talk at all, rather than like just small talk, like, oh, how's the weather? What else? So sensory things, so I'm like you can be hyposensitive or hypersensitive. So hypersensitive means you're oversensitive, well, oversensitive to stuff. Hypo means you'd be undersensitive, so like you could be hypersensitive to touch or like sound, or hyper light. So I'm basically hypersensitive to light, to sound, things like that. So for instance, the lights at work, which are really bright lights above your head, and they're just like glaring down on you, and they give you headaches and migraines, and looking at them is like, oh, this feels painful. I got those removed from above me after my diagnosis, because then you can, start to ask for adjustments. At work, like, I had lots of admin to focus and concentrate on, but because there was loads of people in one room, I found that really hard, so then I asked for noise cancelling headphones so I could put them on and listen to music, so I could focus, rather than like hearing everything going on in the whole room while trying to focus on something, which was really hard, because I could hear like everything, like all the different conversations going on in the room, the typewriter going off, everyone typing, phones ringing, people stomping around on the floor, what it sounded like to me with the heels walking around, just millions of things all at once, and when you've got a job and only a small amount of time to do it, and you can start to get stressed because you're not doing it. I'd obviously developed coping mechanisms which I didn't know that I'd developed like throughout a whole lifetime of not knowing that my brain basically was wired differently to most of the population, and that's why I felt different. So it would be like, for instance, at work, if it's busy at work and stuff, I prefer to go out and walk in nature in the woods on my own on my lunch break, so I could sort of de-stress from so many people, so much noise, all that sort of stuff, and just listen to music or the nature sounds and just walk in nature to sort of just like ground myself. But I didn't know I was doing that, or why no one else, but other people might sit in the canteen and chat to each other, and why I felt better doing that. Another example would be if I'd like have to meet a big group of people and I didn't know them, and you sort of like, I'd get labelled as shy, and as a kid it's shy, or she's just shy, because I didn't really talk much, and I wondered why I was shy, but I didn't really feel like that fitted, and I didn't really feel shy. I just felt like when I was in those situations, I'd just like climb up inside. It's like being in a prison inside yourself, and you can't be your normal self, but you want to be, but you can't be, and you want to like break free out of yourself, but you just can't for some reason, and like selective mutism as well, and you just can't talk in those situations, and you want to say something, but it's just so hard to like break out of that and just be your normal self, which you could be with people that know you properly, or you're close to you. So like, yeah, that was horrible feeling like that, and not knowing why, and just seeing everyone else just easily just being themselves when they're meeting like new people, or like strangers, or in big groups, and that sort of thing. Another thing is like eye contact as well. Like, some people just seem to stare. Like, I don't like staring for ages. I prefer just like, if you're going to make eye contact when you're talking to people, make a small eye contact, then look away when you're talking and you're thinking, rather than like, it just feels distracting to just be staring into someone's eyes. It's like staring into your soul. But you do develop ways of appearing normal, so you might like look at people when you're talking, then look away for a while, look at me, and then, oh, there's something over there, and you're just like, jokes, like I do take things literally when people tell jokes. A lot of the time I do take stuff literally, and I'm like really clumsy and stuff, and people sometimes been like, just thought I was a bit quirky because I'm like really intelligent, but I'm also like really clumsy, or I might like put something on inside out or not realise like till half the day or whatever, or like I'm always falling over my own feet, banging into stuff. What was I going to say? This is what I was going to say, that's another point, like I relate to animals really well. They're just like so much easier to communicate with and straightforward. I seem to really love animals and nature and things. But as like a really young kid, I used to, in like junior school, I didn't really talk to anyone or have any friends, so I never liked to go to school when I first started going, and I'd just cry on my way, but I'd just like play with myself and imagine no friends and creatures and just ride around with them rather than playing with other kids. I remember a girl asking to play with me, and I said no because I was having such a good time just like playing with, riding around on imaginary creatures and stuff. And I just remember sitting there and observing and watching people, but not interacting with them at that stage. And my mum used to get angry with me as a kid because she said I'd just sit there. So the video just cut off then. Yeah, so if I'm listening to a song that I really love, music love, then it's like all my hair stand up electricity running, looks throughout your body. I can tune into nature well and like see patterns and things and stuff like that, but what was I going to say? There's just so much, and like I know some people say, oh well, it doesn't define you, it's not you, you know, it's just a part of you, but it's like a big part at the core of you because it affects so many things, because your brain is different, it affects like so many things. And to not know for that amount of time and like not know why you felt different and stuff is like a big thing once you realise. And it's like a really relief in a way because you don't have to compare yourself to neurotypical people and like why you're not living life in the same ways, or why you don't have the same thing as other people, or you don't have to be as hard on yourself because those sort of things don't come so naturally to you. Like some things are a lot harder, and I'm just sort of all over the show because I didn't really do a script or anything, but so there's sensory stuff, even like food, some textures of certain foods, like I always hated yogurt with bits in it as a kid, or like pure orange juice with bits in it. There's some stuff I just can't stand, like some textures of some vegetables and stuff. But like they say it's usually the males that have more texture and food stuff some of the times. And like my special interest or different interests that I've always had, like interested in the paranormal and stuff, and like seeing ghosts and things could be because your brain, if you're not like using the social interaction part of your brain as much, but you might use like more of the other parts of your brain, and they can be like more connected and stuff maybe. But social, they'll take other things literally thing. An example of that would be I went into a shop and the guy said to me, I went into the shop, sorry, and then I forgot something, so I went back into the shop again, and then the guy said, oh, I've just seen your twin. And like I went, I'll have you, thinking I haven't got a twin. And then I thought, well, maybe see my sister come in, maybe my sister's just been into the shop. And then I thought, yeah, but my sister doesn't have like dreadlocks, she's got like blonde straight hair, so she doesn't really look that much like me. And I was like, and then it clicked, and I was like, oh, it's because I'd just been in the shop, so he's trying to make a joke, and then it had clicked as I was like logically processing it like that throughout my brain as I just left the shop. Whereas someone else would have just like got that joke straight away, not taking it like literally, as in you've just seen my twin. But things like that, like I just think it's funny. I don't get bothered by it. I just think it's quite funny. And the executive functioning thing, that's like, it can be hard to say. For instance, if I've got a full-time, say, office job, then I find it hard to like do the housework. The weekends are just full of doing all your chores, food shopping, housework. Then it's hard to like have a social life and do other stuff at the same time, because work just sucks all your energy out for you. So then like at night you don't want to do anything, that sort of thing, because of the environment and stuff. So like then you've got so much to do at the weekend, and then it's hard, and then you forget birthdays and you forget this and you forget that, and like just stuff like that really. What else? Well, there's loads of stuff, but I think it's good when you do find out, because then you can start like making some changes in your life where you need them. Oh yeah, like sleeping's always been a big issue for me, because I'm hypersensitive to light, so like I always have blackout blinds, blackout curtains, an eye mask as well. But in the summer, because the sun comes up so early, that even like the slightest crack of light coming up from above the curtains where the blackout blind and things are, then like I'm awake straight away, and then I just can't get back to sleep. And I remember as a kid like putting pillows over my head because of that situation. And also I sleep with earplugs every night and have for years and years, because like I'm hypersensitive to noise, so like the slightest noise will wake me up. And then obviously sometimes, depending on what's happened in the day, or if you've been at work, or if you've had like social interactions where your brain's processing them, and like you're trying to understand people or whatever, then like these thoughts could be running through your head while you're trying to sleep at night. And you just think so much, you just think all the time, and your brain just never stops thinking. Like it's just active all the time, so sometimes it can be hard to sleep. But like I've done things in the past to like manage it, because like I say, when you don't know, you develop coping mechanisms like meditation, music before you go to sleep and stuff like that. But my brain will shut off when I'm doing something that I'm really interested in. Like if I'm doing one of my interests, like if I'm sculpting something with clay for a few hours, then it's like a meditation, because your brain just shuts off. Or if I'm gaming, or listening to music or whatever else, reading. So yeah, it's basically like, I remember when I went to see this guy once, a psychic guy with like tarot cards and stuff, but he said to me, it must be hard sometimes to be like inside your brain, because this was just after talking to me for a little bit of time, because it was like, because it must be like really intense, as if you're like under the summer sun, like all the time, like beaming, like your brain, that's what your brain's like, so it never shuts off. It rarely shuts off. But when you've always lived with that brain, it's like, well, that's just what my brain's like, so you're just used to it. Yeah, it can just be hard if like trying to find your place in society or the world. It can be harder indeed, because if you feel different inside, or like an alien and you don't know why, then it's difficult. But luckily now there's more and more awareness, and more awareness needs spreading of this, because like there's just so many undiagnosed adults out there that just have no idea, and they're like struggling in different ways in their life and they don't know why. the life expectancy, if you're on the autistic spectrum, is only like 54ish, I think it is, or something. The first reason why is heart failure, and that's because you might be in like fight or flight mode all the time because of being autistic in any typical world and problems that can present. Second reason is suicide. You know, it's like really sad, so there needs to be more awareness and more support. And when I first realised, I was looking everywhere for information. I was like reading books on it, and like women that had been diagnosed as adults and had written books on it, and YouTube videos, and you know, different sources of information as much as I could, because you can then, once you realise there's other people out there, and then you can relate to them, and like it makes you feel a bit better because there's others in the same, exactly the same situation, issue, and yeah, it's good to know that you're not alone in it. But yeah, to finally have answers is good. That you're not just an alien, or there's like other fellow aliens. I might do more videos about this in the future, about specific areas after this. But my brain just keeps going blank. Like there's more that I want to say. Like when I think I wrote 20 pages, I typed 20 pages of examples of lifetime stuff when I went for my assessment. And even after that, there's still more and more going in my head, but I decided to stop myself at that point because I'd already written 20 pages. I was like, okay, I think this is enough. It's hard, sometimes hard to know what's needed, what's expected of you, what's enough, what's not enough.